And opposition leaders in Western countries have denounced a so-called foreign agents bill passed by Georgia's national parliament. The legislation has prompted weeks of mass street protests, and this latest parliamentary vote prompted thousands more to blockade a major traffic junction in the capital, Tbilisi. Critics fear the proposed law will be used to stamp out dissent and dent Georgia's hopes of joining the European Union. The legislation requires media and other groups who receive more than 20% of their funding from abroad to register as pursuing the interests of a foreign power. The European Union and the United States have criticised the bill, saying it could jeopardise relations if it comes into effect. I'm pleased to welcome to DW the President of Georgia, Salome Zourabichvili. Welcome, Madam President. This controversial law has now passed through Parliament and will come to you to be signed into law. What will you do?
Veto it.
And what good will that do, given that Parliament can override your veto?
This law has become for the Georgian population that has been demonstrating now for 1 month, has become the symbol of a number of laws and measures and rhetoric that is taking Georgia away from its European path that looked as completely secured since we got the candidate status. And so it's this symbol that I'm going to veto, because there was no possibility for anyone through the critics of our partners or from the civil forces, the non-governmental organizations. Everybody was saying this is a law that is exactly the same as the one Russia has used to really breed and oppose the civil society and the non-governmental organizations in Russia. So we do not want that law. It's not conform to the European values, and it will not allow the country to get closer to the European Union. Okay. It has not been listened. It has been adopted in a precipitated way. The third hearing was held in the committee in 1 minute, 7 seconds.
Okay. So the law has passed through these many stages. It comes to you, you veto it, it goes back to Parliament. Parliament says we will press on regardless. Now, in reports that we've been playing today, we've heard the Prime Minister, Irakli Kobakidze, saying that this law would provide transparency of foreign influence. So beyond being similar to moves that, as you say, Russia has made, could you explain to our viewers why requiring media organisations and NGOs who receive significant overseas funding to declare that, why that endangers Georgia's democracy? Because
there are declarations, it is transparent, and everybody knows that, and our partners are also very transparent in the way they're financing some of the organizations. What this law is doing, and what is even clearer in the rhetoric of the Prime Minister or of the honorary president of the ruling party, is that they are considering through this law that the foreign influence, the foreign agents are our partners and the European and American partners of this country who have been supporting this long road of democratization of Georgia, and that there is no foreign influence coming from Russia. By duplicating the Russian law and going on this road, meanwhile, and despite the fact that all the Europeans, all our partners have been saying, don't take that law. It's not a law that is conform to what we are recommending or what we see as upholding the European values. When you do that, despite these warnings, it means that you are taking a very decisive direction that is not the direction that the whole country is calling and has been supporting for years now.
But I'm still not hearing in the explanation you gave why requiring this declaration from those organisations, in what way is democracy threatened? Regardless of the criticisms that have come from the EU and the US and elsewhere, What is it about making these declarations that you deem to be anti-democratic?
I don't want to go into the discussion of the law because I'm telling you that this law is not only by itself, but by the addition of the laws and of the rhetoric that is held, is the representative of a deviation of the course and the direction that the country is taking. And it's not only requiring them to declare resources, which is done, it's requiring them to declare themselves as agents, as representative of a foreign influence. And that is discrediting them in the eyes of the public opinion if that were to happen. And so the whole civil society has declared and has signed up to the fact that they're not going to accept to be considered as agents of foreign influence in this country. So they are not lobbyists, they are members of this country, they are representing this country. The civil society in this country has been very vivid, very active, very influential, and very essential to this transition of this country towards democracy.
And what do you believe
about transparency?
And what do you believe is the government's motivation in introducing this law?
I don't know, you will have to ask them, because last year they introduced this law. It was protested by also a very large part of the population for the same reason. And they took this law away and they promised the population and our partners that it was definitive, that this law will not be introduced any longer. So why does it come back at a time when there is no need for it? No specific request from anyone. Suddenly it's thrown in the middle of the public attention together with a rhetoric, because as the law, the very important speech of the Mr. Ivanishvili, the de facto ruler of Georgia, on the 29th of April, which is accusing our Western and European partners of everything and nothing, and making conspiracy theories, is the real problem of this country. So this society, which knows very well what it has been under, what it meant to be in the Soviet space and the Soviet listening devices, the Soviet propaganda, it cannot be. A second lie doesn't work. So
right.
They reconsider this law and the population says again no.
The government, of course, says that it is pro-EU. The EU now says it will freeze Georgia's accession bid if this law is enacted. Do you think that sort of threat is likely to sway the government?
I don't know. I cannot say what their reaction is going to do. What I think is important is that the country continues on its path toward Europe. For that, we have very close at hand, in 5 months' time, elections. In those elections, the population will have to say its word, will have to confirm that what we want is Europe, and that is the best way to reject the laws that are not conform to our European path and to set ourselves again on the road towards accession negotiations.
Thank you so much for joining us, President of Georgia, Salome Zourabichvili. Thank you so much.
Thank you.